So we'll keep this intro short just because we don't need to go at length of who you are. And I've already done an interview with you before. And if you haven't watched that, you should probably go do that now. I'm going to remind to like, comment if these are helpful to you because it's helpful to our pages. Let's just get right into this. I wanted to start with you, Charlie, because I I feel like there is not enough talked about with the discipline of the mind.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
could, yeah, okay. So when I say discipline, I mean, there's so many ways in which I think about discipline and mediumship or just in life. But when I think about discipline, it has to do with trusting the message, surrender. Are you
I hear
showing
it a
up?
lot. I hear it a lot, but I don't
No,
see much surrender, you know. I
I
don't
don't
see
either.
so it's more of a condition. So if I understand the information, I'll say it.
Yeah.
If you tick my boxes in my format of your age and who are you and how have you died, how have you passed, and then I receive that and I understand it, then I'll surrender. But until that moment, we're working under this condition that I'm going to set, and so I don't see a lot of that.
I want to highlight that because you say that in almost every interview I've ever seen with you. You've said that in every class I've been in with you. You have said that. Yet it's
I'm
not
getting boring.
happening. So I know that when I started classes with you, I came from a background of kind of the traditional art teachings, what have yous. And when you said there's a structure out there of storytelling with, I literally know what you were saying. I didn't even apply that to my mediumship
Yeah.
until I had taken a few classes with you. So I want to make it clear to the listener what you're saying is
Well,
that,
what I'm saying is that whenever if I set an exercise or you're about to do a reading in a professional capacity as such, there is this routine that the medium develops of where they go. So I'm going to get a communicator, and that is the same. It's the same over and over again. So they've got this
yeah,
way of looking for the spirit world, and there it is, and here we go. That it will tend to fall into like a routine. Like some people won't like the word format or one dimensional, but it's routine. And that routine will be the same way that you do the laundry. You sort out the colors, you pop them in the machine, you pop in your detergents, and you choose your cycle, you press start, you go back once it beeps, and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's how you do the laundry. And people have made this routine way of mediumship. This is where I go. This is where they'll be. This is what they'll tell me. Here we go, and rinse and repeat. And very quickly, it looks and sounds very samey, um, and it just don't like. But for you to get your story across, I don't think I would get enough about Kira if I was like, so how old are you? What's your status? Are you married? Are you divorced? Are you single? Are you whatever? What do you do for a job? That's not telling me about you, is it? It's very bland. Like I want to know about you. Like, how do you react? What's your kind of behavior? What's your traits? What's the really nice bits about you? What's the ugly bits about you? Because they're the bits that the people that have a really close connection with, they've seen all of it. Those other bits, it's surfaced information.
I've seen a lot of really boring readings, and I've done a
Yeah.
lot of really boring readings. I have to be really honest.
I think
uh,
if we're all honest, we've all
it,
been down that route, haven't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Got that
that's
style.
why, right? Is because we're getting into this, we're going to the same place, asking the same questions, yet we are saying that we are surrendering,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we are trusting the spirit.
I
So,
think it comes with its own signal though. Like if I say to you, Kira, can I have a word? It's kind of like in my tone, you're kind of like, bloody hell, what's he want? Like, oh, am I in trouble? What have I done? Or whatever, isn't it? And you get this like belly flip moment or whatever it is. And then I say to you, can I borrow that book that you were talking about? And you're like, oh, for God's sake, I thought I was in trouble. I thought that's kind of our mediumship is, like I've got no idea who I'm about to meet. No idea. I'm a little,
Yeah.
I do bloody emojis.
Yeah.
And I've got no idea what's going on and I don't know what they want and what they want to say. And then it begins and it's, oh, this is a nice one. Oh, this is a blunt one. Oh, this is trauma healing. This
Mhm.
is I don't know, but the belly's flipping. I'm nervous. I'm scared, but I'm in service. I'll say what you want me to do. Whatever it is you want, I'll do it. Which means I sweat out. I'm nervous. I'm scared. You know what I mean? I don't know what's coming, but I will
Do
say,
you do you think that that's where I've watched a lot of things with you where people are about those blank moments where I get nothing.
yeah, yeah. The blank's looking for your car keys when they're in you. Do you know what I mean? It's like they wouldn't turn up and then just go, "No, I'm not saying it, not telling you, Kira. Nope, we're not discussing that."
So glad you said that.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. So if I'm looking here in a visual aspect, I'm looking here and I've had communication, I've got placement, I've got everything. It means the information can't, it doesn't work here. I need to come over here. Equally, if I had my board up, I'd draw it for you. There will be a focus. So as my mind shifts and I'm aware, like, oh God, I'm aware of a blank. Now that becomes my focus. And now I can't see beyond the focus.
Mm.
That it's captured my attention, this blank. And all you have to do is reestablish the connection with the communicator. Where's that old lady? Where's that man that died in a car accident? And that will
Mhm.
take my focus away from a blank back to the communicator. And here's more information. Nice and simple.
So you're saying you connect with someone you think and you have a blank, and so what you're doing is going back to them instead of continuing to look at the blank? Did I get that right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you're
Well,
looking in the
looking
wrong
at the blank's
place.
pointless, isn't it? It's
It
it's
is.
a blank. It's a void. It's a nothingness. I might as well
Yeah.
go. Where's that guy? What's going on here? Like I'm like, which you would do naturally, wouldn't you? If I'm
Yes.
having a conversation with you and you just disappear in front of me, I'm like, everything's really normal. It's completely normal, everything. So treat it as it would be in a conversation between me and you.
Oh,
Just
that's
treat
so
everything like that.
missed. We miss this so often. With I think that goes along with people saying, "Make the link stronger," because I remember in being taught, like, "Your link isn't strong. You're not in the power." These are really
And
common
how do they know
statements.
that? I mean, it's absolutely not. I've been teaching for years now, years and years, and the connection I've got with the spirit world is unique, as is yours. So
Right.
I would have to be you to understand how strong or weak that is. And it kind of goes against everything, doesn't it? Like I've got a can of Red Bull here, and for it to be strong, I have to hold and hold and hold, which is burning fuel from the mediumship aspect. Nice strong picture, but you can't
Yeah.
tell me why. You can't tell me why I'm showing you Red Bull. You just see a picture, nice strong picture. Mediumship's extremely subtle for the efficiency of mediumship. So
Mm.
I'll give you, you know what that is. There you go. Nice flashpoint. You got the information. Now you still got fuel in the tank to be able to tell me what it's about and why it's there. And because everything's subtle, the strength or the strength in a link is only to convince the medium. That's all
Yes.
that's about. And it's not about convincing the medium. It's about convincing the client that their person's here with you. You're but a bridge. You're but the Amazon spiritual prime driver. That's it. You're delivering a
Right.
package. So it will be subtle. And the more development and the more faith and the more surrender, the more subtle it will become because you don't need convincing. You
Of
know what
course.
happened there.
Of course. So if because people when they say your link isn't strong, you've dropped the link, but then it comes back to that the strength of the mind and the discipline
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
mind, doesn't it? So to
absolutely.
me, I think part of that discipline has to do with it doesn't feel strong, maybe whatever, or I'm looking in the wrong blank area. But I have to remember that if I start to think the link is broken,
It's
I
already
don't
broke.
have anyone here. We're done. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
over,
it's already
right?
broke. You're thinking, you're in the process. So it's already done. So then you'll have a full reset, which is the double. task that I'm saying to do. Like, just where's the guy gone? Where has he gone? Which will
And
then
that's
put
the
me back.
reset.
That's a reset, yeah. You're resetting. Where's the guy that died in the car accident? Oh, there you are. Right, now what am I saying? And here we go is what, 2 seconds, maybe 3 at a push? But you sitting there with your eyes closed, look like you're in absolute pain and your breath's changing rhythm, and I'm really focused on this blank and I can see the sweat beads forming on your forehead because, oh my God, I look silly. Is a minute, and you're like, "What are you doing? Like, just get
Yeah.
the guy back. Just what are you doing now? What's going on?" So you
And
just got to
that
change your
is
focus.
the big you can see that with mediums though, can't
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
see them
Instant.
go yeah, instantly
Yeah,
and sit there for a long period of time and lose all that you can actually see them go from spirit to thinking about what people
introvert.
think of them.
Yeah, yeah. Completely self-judged and critiqued, and now they're just hoping there's an 8.5 on the Richter scale earthquake where the earth just swallows them. What?
Make me disappear right now. But this also goes with the mindset going into mediumship because I know I still have moments, maybe even every time where I'm like, "Oh god, why do I do this? Why do I do mediumship? I don't even know
Yeah.
why I put myself into this position."
I do that at a dem because I'm like, "Oh my God, there's loads of people here, and oh, here we go." But it's like anything, isn't it? If you've got a work mindset. So let's say you work for some guy in a factory. Then Monday morning comes around, doesn't it? And you're like, oh, I don't want to be getting up. I don't want to go to work. And you make your way there, and you're not really happy. But you cross the threshold. You go through the gates of the place, and you're there till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And you just get on with it. And what you also do is you suppress some really weird thoughts, don't you? You want to tell the boss to do one. Do you know what I mean? Who you're
Yeah.
talking to, but you
Yeah.
can't. You've got to pay the mortgage, or you've got to pay your bills, or whatever it is. So you restrain yourself, you discipline yourself from having those intrusive thoughts that you just want to but you
Y
don't do it. You don't do that. You're at work, and you know you've got to be disciplined, and you know you've got to do that. This is work. I'm working for a spirit world. And my intrusive
exactly.
thoughts need to be restrained. I can't be
That's
offering judgment. I can't be doing anything like that. I can't have outbursts because if not, the boss would whip me in. I'd be in disciplinary hearings every other day, wouldn't I? If I went in like a medium to a job, I'd be at HR meetings every morning at 9 o'clock, wouldn't I? Like, another warning, another warning. Like, you can't talk to people. You can't destroy things like that, Charlie. So,
y
so it's just a
yeah.
work outfit.
It is, and to me, it's like I hate it at all until like 5 minutes before the reading, and then I'm like, "No, I've gotta change my mindset. That's
Yeah.
not allowed anymore. Forget it. It's done.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
going in." And then it
I think
stops.
there's
But
some that are a lot more relaxed, isn't there? You know, you've
yeah,
got people that you're like a friend of a friend, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, then. I think the pressure's on when you see a parent come to the screen or your front door or whatever, and you can see their world has just gone. That now the pressure's
yeah,
on, the pressure's there now, you know, and you've got to deliver. I think the mindset for me there is, I think the mindset difference between me and many others, I'm not saying no one's doing it the way I do it or I'm amazing or anything like that. I'm just saying I do it in a way that makes mediumship easier on my mind and on my life and etc. And the difference in the mindset is you believe wholeheartedly that you've got to prove this boy that comes for his mum that's sitting in front of you. Well, I don't think that. I think the boy's got to prove to his mum that he's in the room, and I'll say whatever you need me to say to help you prove that. And that's a much easier job.
much
No pressure on
easier.
me. No pressure on me, is there? Right, I'm aware of you, but I need to let her know you're here. So what am I saying? And
And
that means saying it. That don't mean you have it and you sit and you go, "I wonder what the young lad means about that. I wonder what that is." And that's what mediums are doing. They're like, "Oh, I don't really get it. I don't really wanna say it." But it's not for you, it's for the mum that's sitting in front of you. So just say it. And instantly you're rewarded because they go, "Yeah, yeah, I know what he's talking about."
the point of having a parent, it's really important because I have a lot of parents that I read for,
Mhm.
and I've gone to a lot of demonstrations where mostly it's grandparents or
Yeah.
somebody's mother is coming through.
Yeah.
And it makes me really sad because there's a lot of parents that really want and need to hear from their
Yeah.
children,
Mhm.
yet they are not.
Yeah.
So, do you also think that this has to do with, okay, there's a lot of pressure, right? Because of what you just said, but
Yeah.
our mind isn't open. So I know I read for a lot of parents, but one aspect that really struggle with is very young children.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
I agree with that.
right?
I think
So,
the problem is you've got a choice of an 18-month-year-old baby that wants to step forward for mum, or you've got a 92-year-old grandmother, and you're kinda like, "Well, this one's safer. I'm gonna." Chances are they've got a grandmother that's in her 90s there. I'll
yeah.
go with that. Your mind subconsciously will do that. It's not that you're not like you're like, "I'm not doing that." It's just that your first awareness will be the 92-year-old woman to the 60-year-old woman sitting in front of you, like, "Oh, I've got a mum here." And then go with it. Your mind is much safer than working with a 19-year-old girl in front of you, and you're aware of an 18-month-old baby. Your mind's like, "Oh my god, is it? Ain't it? Da, 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 da," and you just start panicking. So you'll always go here. What I'll tell you what taught me that was I went to demonstrations for nearly 10 years, nearly 10, and no one brought my 18-year-old sister through. No one.
Yeah,
No, not
exactly.
one, not one. Do you know, the first communication with my sister was a student.
Wow.
Yeah, a student.
That's
Someone that had
incredible.
no training, no training. Listen to what I'm saying, 0 training. And then I said, "Just, like, have me in mind, you wanna help me. Now your imagination's gonna form something for you. What you are aware of." And that student went, "An 18-year-old girl." And I was like, "Oh my god, here it is. It's gonna happen."
10
Like,
years later, after
10
sitting in
years.
demonstrations
And
with
and sitting in
professional
rooms
mediums,
with TV mediums, sitting in rooms with those people.
that's
So
mind-blowing, isn't
that's
it?
when I realized, like, the medium's mind is so important to, the parameters and restrictions that they place consciously, subconsciously on themselves, and safety. Like, I don't mean, like, anyone's gonna be hurt. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
So if someone subconsciously then
Mhm.
isn't getting something, how do we get beyond our subconscious? Is this a matter of sitting in the power and saying, "Help me
I don't think
understand
no,
what I'm
I think it's
doing"?
more of the lens that you have on life, like, I don't know how many years I'm down the line. Let's say 15 for just for a number, and 15 years of looking at my own mediumship every day. I kind of got an attitude about the world of it is what it is. Like,
Mhm,
you see horrific stories, don't you? But
mhm.
I'm not shocked by them anymore. I'm not surprised by them anymore. So it's kind of like, oh well, it happens. I get it. That like the way of the world, it is what it is.
Yeah,
If you're still shocked by certain aspects, I think those shock parts are because it falls outside of the parameter that you accept as a reality. So and our cultures are completely different, isn't it?
mhm,
I remember the first year working with US students, and I saw something on British TV where someone had unfortunately opened fire in a school. I
mhm.
was like, "Oh my god, like, what a horrific." And then, like, the second and third year of working with students, and it's the 15th episode I've heard, kinda
Yeah,
like, well, it's unfortunate, but I've seen that it's happened again.
yes.
It's not out of my parameters now. Like, I've heard about it, I've seen it. I've seen it 15 times now, and then it just becomes part of reality, doesn't it?
It
So
does.
so all of those other things are just part of the reality, and I think that the problem is with a certain train of thought or school of thought or tuition or whatever, is a love and light approach. Everything's just fucking amazing, and
Mhm.
everything's perfect, and everything's, unicorns and rainbows, and it's not.
It's not.
It's not. Like, and, equally, not everything's bad. There are some beautiful and wonderful people there. But there are equally people that deserve the communication as much as anybody else that didn't do things by the book and did break rules and did break laws and did
Mhm.
break so on and so forth. So I kind of leave that not down to the like judging them. Do I like them? Do I want to do it? Do I want to? I'm in service. I will do what I'm asked to do. Try and widen my awareness as much as possible, which is really common for me to do a demonstration, and it's really common for someone to come up to me afterwards and say that's the first time they've been through.
And that service. Speaking of being taught and schools of thought and not
Mm,
hearing from your sister from 10 entire years from professional
mm,
mediums, I was taught that you can't have spirit come to order. So for
avoid it.
those of you who don't know, that means you can't say, "I wanna hear from your sister." So that's what I was taught.
Mm,
So when I first started going out as a medium, I had this woman, I sat through an entire 30-minute reading with her, and I kept feeling like, "Why does she not like this? Like, there's definitely an issue here."
she wanted someone else.
She wanted someone else. And
Mm,
can I just say that after 30 minutes of reading for her with her mother, she said, "Well, how come my son didn't come through?"
yeah,
That
exactly.
was what changed everything for me, and I'm
Yeah.
still upset about it, but not really
Of
because it's
course.
changed my mediumship, right?
Well,
Because
it's
now
made it better now. That woman's made your mediumship better for that reason, hasn't it? It's like you
yeah,
realise that there's a desire there.
yeah, the 30
Under a
minutes
train
of
of thought, under a schooling, whatever schooling that is. I mean, we can list them and we can name them. I couldn't care less. That they say that you can't do it to order. That it completely contradicts the
yeah,
oneness that everyone speaks about. So if oneness is present and omnipresent is present in every situation, in every read, in every demonstration, everywhere, all of the time, this omnipresence that everyone speaks about, then me just putting my attention to it to
yeah,
order, grab my son for me, no problem, where's son? And then I still have to work. I still have to get all the evidence from him in that moment, in that conversation I'm having with him,
mhm,
and relaying it with mum for mum to say, yes, that sounds like my son. Yes, that's my son. Yes, that's my son. To the point where it's, oh my God, this is my son. I
right,
still have to work.
yeah,
So it's you've got 30 minutes. You know, your person was sitting there like, where's my boy? Where's my boy? Where's my boy?
yeah,
Or you could say, is there anyone you want to speak to, or am I doing it through my awareness?
exactly. That
And now
changed
you're being
everything for me in
successful.
that day. All 30 minutes of hell changed for me. And now I say, "Who do you wanna hear from?" You can
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me it doesn't matter, but, it
yeah.
almost always
If not, it's
does.
down to me. It's down to where my
It's down
parameters are. Yeah,
exactly. So, I also wondered, I feel like with something I learned from you is that you could train yourself to pick up who that
yeah.
person wants to hear from. Now that's to
It's a
me like a yet another level, but
yeah, yeah. No, it's actually much easier than you realize. Well, it's much easier dependent on the person that you are, I imagine, you know. So I am a guy um that it doesn't matter what's going on. I want to help no matter what that is. You know, if I leave my drive and I go down the road a couple of minutes and someone's changing a flat and I see it's a woman, even if it's a man, I'll be like, "Do you want a hand?" Like, because that's shit. That's
mm,
horrible. Like, you're
yeah,
probably busy, and I'll help them. You know, like, quick, I'll grab this, you do that, da da da, and we're done in 5 10 minutes. You know, job done, and away they go. There's something in that feeling where you're like, I made their day a little bit brighter. I made it a little bit easier. Whereas they'll wrap their knuckles and they can't get the wheel out and there's no conversation. They're screaming and shouting. Their day goes from bad to worse at that point, doesn't it?
mhm,
And so, and that me stopping and helping them out, you know, and doing whatever makes their day a lot easier, a lot brighter. It's been a bad moment, but it hasn't wrecked their entire day. I'm just that guy. I'm just like, let me help. I can help. Let me offer you time. Let me offer you my experience or my mindset or whatever it is. I want to help. But I don't wake up and think, Charlie, you need to be a good man today. So you need to have good thoughts and you've got to try and do good deeds. I'm not like that. It's just who I am. I don't need to think about trying to help a human being. I just want to help. So when a client comes into the room and I've already got that nature about me of I want to help, I'm aware of the energy.
Mm.
that the client brings into the room. It's almost like I take that energy and I go, who's helping with this? And now I'm aware of the sun. And I'm like, oh,
Mm.
okay. So then I go, right, I've got a young lad here, he's wrapped a car around a lamppost or whatever. He's 19 years old. He's showing me this road or whatever. And she'll be like, oh my God, that this may be it. This may be the one. You understand that? Yes. And now here we go. And now I can just rattle it off for her, in whichever way. But I'm not pretending to be nice. I
Yeah.
mean, you know me enough. Like, if I run a class, that I know other tutors aren't doing it, but off-topic questions, anything that can help you ease your mind, your mindset, or your discipline. I'm 2 hours after a class answering
Yeah.
questions,
I
and
can
like every
definitely
single
validate
class.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm there every class, every single one. So anything I can help ease your mind or whatever. And the reason I did that is because every school I went to here in the UK, every tutor I worked with in the UK, at 4:30, at 9 o'clock, at whatever, they clocked off
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
left.
yeah.
And what was annoying was, can I ask this question? Can you leave it till afterwards because it's off topic? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then I'd wait and they would still leave. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you made me wait. And then didn't even answer my question. That I wanted to be the guy that didn't run away from your questions, that actually wanted to help you in your journey or your process or whatever, which I'm not thinking about trying to be. So, like, people pretend to be nice, don't they?
Yes, they do.
But it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like
Mhm.
the thing I've been watching some podcasts lately, and what I noticed with a lot of UK style is they all talk in this way. There's like
Yeah.
this way, like, who started that? Like, where's that come from? Like, who did that? Why do they do that? And I was talking to my partner about it, and I was like, does is it me, or does that sound really condescending? Does that make anybody else feel that way, where they talk like they're above or pedestaled in some way? Like, and I'd dread to think if I've ever done that, but I don't think I've ever done that. And I'm very real. This is me off camera, beanie hat, hoodie,
Mhm.
and this
Mhm.
is me. And we're talking about a subject that I'm extremely passionate about, so I'll spend hours if you want. I've got
Mhm.
no worries. Like, I'll clear it. Do I need to clear a space? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here we go. I'll help you. Oh, your problem's this. You just do this. Run it. Go. Now, see how easy that is, and go again. And now you've just got to make it all second nature. I just think people are playing medium.
Yes.
They're playing spiritual. They're playing philosophy. They're playing surrender. Do you know what I mean? And it's
We
like,
need to
it's not.
broadcast that. I need to clip that and just say that because it you can see that and you can feel it on some level, even if you don't know that that's what you're looking at, you can feel that. And
Yeah.
you can also feel this idea that somebody must be better than you. And unfortunately, I see that, I hear it, and I also see their students start to pick up the same exact behavior,
But it's a
which
it's a
is
it's a
I've been
terrible thing.
chosen.
It's
I'm
a
the chosen
terrible
one.
thing to see as well when you see, a mimicked version, a diluted version of it. So let one starts using their hands and they're talking like this with their hands the whole way through the read. The tutor does this. That all the students get up and they all start moving their hand like sock puppets and,
Yeah.
where's that why are you doing that? Why do it's to like this emulate. We don't need another Charlie, honestly, we don't. We need the best version of you. That's what
How
we need. So I don't want you looking like me or sounding like me. I want it to sound like you and look like you because it's authentic then, isn't it? It's coming through in its purest form. Um,
if you see do you ever see people that start to act like you? Have you
I
seen
haven't.
that?
I haven't. No. I've heard someone has said I knew I was working with one of your students. And my belly sank, I was like, "Oh no." Like, why is that? And they were like, "Oh, because they hit a problem and then they mechanically moved through." And I knew that there wasn't many people that like taught how to work your way through a problem or work your way. rather than be aggressive and force a statement on someone or just ignore it altogether like it never happened.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
take that back and let's pretend we never said it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what is
I've
that?
seen that. They sort of gloss over it and go to the next thing, and
And it's
and they're
like, oh, look at the
nodding.
bright light, just distracts everyone. Look over there. And we'll
And
forget I made a massive error there.
but it's on
I
camera, so but
yeah,
we can also see them doing this. I think that's
yeah,
kind of it's like they're doing this, like, "And you would understand?"
yeah, like,
Uh,
yeah, subliminal say yes to me.
right?
Yeah, you
And
better
the
say
person's
yes. Yeah,
um, but the more that I see mediumship, the more that I work with you, the harder it is to watch some of these things because
you
the more
can't watch it.
blatant it is.
You
I
can't watch
can't.
it.
I
No,
can't
you
make it
can't.
through,
Yeah,
which makes me upset because this is the norm. This has become the norm of mediumship. Yet you are changing it. So I wanted to talk about, I know I've talked about this with you, but I'm endlessly fascinated because I know you have a background like I do, and I know you left, as did I, before I met you. But you had to work with letting go of the mechanics that you had been taught in the past.
yeah,
For the person that's there, for the
yeah.
person who's been taught some of these things, either UK, American, doesn't matter,
Yeah,
taught
yeah,
themselves, whatever. Um, how long do you think this is hard to say because you are different than me, but how
yeah.
long do you think it would take someone to literally let that go and begin again?
If the discipline's in place, like, don't do not process that. You know what happens when you process that. See, when you process that, it always goes wrong.
Yeah.
It is like me saying, "That's a really hot dish. Don't touch that dish. Do not touch that dish." And then you deliberately go, "Tsk, oh,"
Yeah.
and then we do that again. So, like, Kira, remember last time I told you that was hot? It's still piping hot. Do not touch it. And there'll be a bit of you that's like, "I wonder if it is, or if it," and you may go, "Tsk, oh, it is still hot."
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna do it, and then just go, "No, do you know what? I'm just gonna listen to him. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna listen to him and not process that." That's what you have to do in mediumship when you recognize what your issue is. So if I'm over analytical, don't analyze it because that's the thing that's breaking it. So don't do that.
Mhm.
If you can stop you from doing that, then very quickly the change will be there. The downside is the language of energy that you've created is on the relationship up until this point, this podcast, of you avoiding saying things, softening things, vetting things, or assuming things and judging things. And so we've got to have like a language reset. You're learning a new language again.
Mhm.
So realistically, you're looking at about 6 to 8 weeks of being shit. You're going to get
Yeah.
a lot wrong. You're going to get a lot, it's not going to be right. It's not going to get there. And you've got to find this new way of literal conversation, without assumption, without judgment, without analyzing, without that. But realistically, if you look at mediumship in a opening stage, so get placement nice, quick, nice and easy. So that very consistently your client knows exactly who you're talking about. Then the open's dealt with. You could do that. If you only focused on that, you would do that in a number of sessions and it'll be done very quickly. If you then done the end, the message bit, where you say actually what they want to say, because they never want to say, "Hi, I just wanted to pop in." They never want to say that.
Like,
And
it isn't logical.
no.
I had so many things I wanted to say, but I have to say this, I have to ask this. So, message, you know this from me, but I'm going to say it to the audience. I was taught the message is in the evidence.
Mhm.
Okay. So, that's fine. And I think sometimes it is, but that
I
allowed,
agree with that. I think sometimes it is there. I think
yeah,
sometimes that they hear that. Is it every time? No,
I
absolutely
don't
not.
think so. And because of that, I wasn't taught how to do a message. And so I was the medium that was, and I'll leave their love with you. And they're like, but doesn't my
Huh?
mom have anything to say? Here's another okay, so
Yeah.
here's
I
another bad.
booked a 30-minute reading with you, and
And
that's
here
the
we
thing
are.
I was waiting for.
let me just expose all of the bad readings I've had. So no, I can't spend an hour. There's too many of them. But
Yeah.
many of the readings was that with me, like, well, doesn't my mom have anything to say to me? And
Yeah.
it was so heartbreaking for me because I'm like, but the
Look,
evidence is
the
in
reality
the
is,
message is in the evidence.
yeah,
And they're like, okay, but I just paid you. And now what? So,
now what do I do? Book again.
so,
See you in 6 weeks.
so I had to obviously get rid of that. Another thing I had to get
Yeah.
rid of so many things, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to tell you this. And every time they're like, wow, that's amazing. That was exactly, I just said that today. I
I
just said
needed
that
that.
yesterday. And I'm at the point in my mediumship where I don't care what anybody has taught me before. I'm doing exactly what I'm told and what I hear now. But it's taken me time with you and myself and my team to relearn some of that, right?
I
But
mean, I understand that there's some rules and regs. I get it, because you'd have idiots diagnosing and stuff
yeah,
like that. So
and we
I
do.
get
We
it.
have
Yeah,
it. We have
I
that
get
happening.
that. I understand that. But I mean, like, common sense must prevail there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, don't tell people they're gonna die. Don't tell
Oh
people they
God,
have
no.
like a life-threatening illness. That's common sense. Don't do that. So I get why there are rules and regulations, but and for the best part, you can stick to most of them because they've been manhandled quite for a few years. They've been sort of dealt with.
Yeah.
But common sense has to prevail. And the client is hurting or whatever, and the reality is they don't want to hear how they died, and they don't want to hear bits and bobs. But the memory recall, like, dad wants to remind you of this, and do you remember when you and him done that, and and then you see them light up, and oh my god, at that point you've got the barriers down. They know that you've got dad there, and they actually want their message. What does dad want to say about my reality? I think behind the scenes, I think dad's like, "Oh, I can't wait to talk to her. I cannot wait. I want to
Mm.
tell her about, I'm so proud of this, and I was watching when she done that and done that." And we're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no, 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 no. I need to know how old you are. I need to know how you died. I need to know what your living was and what you did." And now we're at a stage 2024 where it's now dad has to conform to this entire one-dimensional style kind of mediumship to then not even get a message at the end because it's in there somewhere
Yeah. It's
in
it.
in in
Oh,
the form in the format that I'm working with, which is absolutely nonsense. So
yeah.
one, we need surrender. Right, dad, what am I saying so she knows you're here? And now we're at the point where she knows that you're here. What do you want to say? What do you want to say to her? And then say it. Which is no different to getting the evidence. What do you want me to do? And I do it. And now we're at that message stage. What is it you want to say? And here we go. And what I've got to do is lift off my parameters, my judgment, my awkwardness, my
Mhm.
because he'll want to say, "Oh, I love you so much," and this, and
Course.
I'm
Course.
rooting behind the scenes. I saw the massive hurdle you got round in life recently, which was, of course, he'll want to do that. But we're at an age of live feeds, Insta reels, TikTok. We've got people channeling fucking bugs from ancient Egypt, saying
Star
that we're
seed.
getting it wrong, and so we're now at a stage where we have to have evidence. We've got no choice. We have to.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
but the reality is, dad just wants to chat. Dad just wants to say hello. So you've got to incorporate that somewhere in in the time segment, the reading, where he gets to say what he wants to say because daughter wants that and that connection is made. My problem is with my awareness and finding that I'm aware of a train
Mhm.
and then not coming off of that train of thought throughout because it'll have this thread that runs through. And we're not going to give you a message because it's in there somewhere. It's in the cargo somewhere of this train.
The cargo.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
you're onto a loser when the client's like, right, train, right. you haven't hit the spot. Like you can sit there and try and convince yourself otherwise, but you haven't. It's the clients you got to talk to about mediumship, not the mediums.
Hmm.
See loads of
Okay.
mediums going, "I done a fantastic dem tonight. It was amazing. We done some beautiful messages. We done." What you know what you never see? The clients in the comments saying, "You're absolutely right. My message was wonderful. It was beautiful. It's PR.
Yeah,
Loads of
that's my
PR.
Facebook is all of that. We had beautiful messages and thank you for the spirit
I see
world,
it
but
all
that's
the
all the
time.
media. I see it every
It's the
day.
mediums doing it. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
what wonderful evening we had. Why
Yeah.
has no one said that? Why has
a-
no one tagged you in that? Why have they not started that post?
Absolutely.
If you've
So
done, like, that heart-wrenching moment that, you beyond doubt you've convinced them that they'll be plastering that everywhere, won't they?
oh,
Everywhere.
of course they will.
You wouldn't need
Uh,
to advertise it yourself. They do it for you.
they are going to do it for you, which is gonna lead into my next kind of segment. But before I go there, I wanted to say one thing about that message is I I was going back through some of the teaching. I was looking through some of the millions of things that I've written down from my teachers. And I know why I didn't do messages, partly because they would consistently tell me that I was dropping into the psychic. That's psychic information. Kira, that's not a message. It's actually psychic where you went there, and that's not allowed here. And
Yeah.
I was terrified that I was going into psychic because I had been speaking about this person's life and what they had been doing presently,
Yeah, yeah.
or thoughts that they had had yesterday about their loved one. They're like, "Oh, that's you're just picking that up psychically."
Yeah, yeah.
And it became this argument whether this is mediumship or psychic. And
But I
so
think no one can tell, can they? If you're aware that you have the man there and the man's telling you to say this, then you know that you're working mediumistically.
and
Again,
so
there is no tutor in the world that can stand behind you and start playing with your chakras and tell you that you're connected or not. I mean, they're delusional
right,
if they think
absolutely.
that. So it can't be done that way. So only you know. And if we've set a foundation and a philosophy correct, your integrity and your ethics will call you out.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You'll feel terrible for saying dad told me, but really he didn't, and you gleaned it from
Oh,
their energy. Do you know what I
you
mean?
you
You
feel
should feel awful for that. But if people are completely desensitizing to that, then they don't feel awful and they like playing mediumship by saying dad's saying, but dad's not saying you're gleaning it from the mediumship is all the people I don't want in my world and in my life and on my
yes,
Facebook, and I don't want to be around it. It's
of
because you're
course,
playing mediumship. So
which is what
it's
we were talking about earlier. Um, and I know I'm saying a lot of things that sound kind of negative, um,
well, they're not negative though.
but
They're part of the community. I don't know what your numbers are, but I think I stopped around 25 to 30,000 pounds into development, realizing what a waste of 25 to 30,000 pounds.
yeah, that was me. That was definitely
Do you know
me.
what I mean? I just got fed up with the fluff and the stuff and the raise your vibration. Don't forget to put roots in the ground. Don't forget to meditate every day. By the way, I've got 25 meditations you can buy. Have
Absolutely.
you bought my book? That will tell you everything you need. Like, Jesus Christ, give it a rest. Like,
Unbelievable.
what are we doing here? So everything's got to be from organic, I think. Like, if you're doing everything with integrity, your ethics are sound and you are out helping, not playing, but
Mm,
helping people, and you're genuinely trying to show a world that evidential mediumship is there, then the organic growth that you will have, they will demand the meditations, they will demand the merch, they will demand the books, they will demand the classes, they will demand the demonstrations, not me putting them on and then PR myself out to, you know, sell this, buy that, have you know,
yeah.
do you know about this? Do you know about that? It's organic and you'll do it forever, won't you? I can't ever
This was my next question, so
not
of
gonna
course you
stop
picked up on it.
ever.
This is exactly where I was wanting to go. So, because I've had a lot of people ask me, "How long did it take you to get to where you are? How long does it?" And really what they're asking is not about me, they're asking about themselves. Because I know
Yeah,
I had the same question, I'm not blaming them, I had the same question.
I think the
So
problem is they want a shortcut.
exactly. So I can't say, oh, at this point, you're going to be this medium. And
Yeah.
I can't say that about myself either. But what
Yeah.
you're also speaking about is your mediumship speaks for itself. So
Mm.
to speak about that, there's a lot in that. But first off, I would say in terms of being a solid medium, we can go there and then we can go into like, how
Yeah.
do you get business and things like that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like, well, so I went out when I was at 4 years, but really it was, I think 3 because I just kind of effed around for the first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was too young. I think I was too young in
Yeah.
there because I was having that woman that was like, "Well, what about the message? Doesn't my mom have something to say?
Where's my son?
Where's my son?"
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but at
I think
5
they teach,
years,
you know, and I'm not sure that's a negative read that, you know, I think that that woman, her boy, and Kira's mediumship will go on to highlight to the world the importance. I think it has
yeah,
to start somewhere, and things like that start at places like that, you know. For me, I think that's a real big positive.
and also why I
Realistically,
read so many
development.
young people. I read so many young people now.
Re Realistically, development, me personally, I knew for me to get good at what I wanted to do, I knew I had to write off a 10-year segment. I knew it
Yeah,
was 10.
yeah.
Once I started unfolding the philosophy, the pioneers, the history, where it was, where it's at, mechanics, you know, and then all of that stuff and all the stuff that's needless, the time wasting, the fluff, the nonsense, the BS, you know, all of that stuff. I realized quite early on, like, there's a lot of work still to do. So I knew realistically it was 10 years, realistically. Um, I went out on stage in my first year,
Mhm.
but not because I wanted to. So I need to set that out straight. I never wanted to read. I never wanted to teach. I never wanted to dem. I was looking for my sister. And then I started attending demonstration after demonstration, like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And on the 11th month of that first year, while in development of doing that, so maybe a second year of being introduced to a spirit world, then being introduced to like a development of mediumship, and then the 11th month of the development, so going into circle and what have you, I was attending demonstrations. I'll never forget it because it was 6 in a row. And those 6 I went to, the medium didn't turn up, which
In
is
a row.
which is common here in the UK for a medium not to show. It's not
Wow.
so common, 6 in a row. But I was traveling to different places around the UK, and I turned up, medium no show, stuck on the motorway, broke down, you know, illness, whatever. And I was traveling with someone, so, you know, conversation in a car to go. And the medium didn't turn up, and my friend would be like, "He can do it." I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And then they'd
Yeah.
be like, "Can you do it?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'll give it a go." Then I did it. And then I took loads and loads of bookings from those demonstrations locally and then further afield and further afield. That was on the 11th month. But I did know that I needed 10. I needed 10 years to not master the skill set, but to have a good understanding of it. I'd always said it, and I believe, you know, Carol will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was to the month. I think I got my start date, and then um, my partner was around at that time, on that 10th year, when that turning point kind of like it was so obvious. It was like it
Mm.
just went everywhere very, very quickly. Um, So yeah, I think realistically, you're looking at like how to handle situations, good, bad, ugly,
Yeah.
demonstrations, reading the room, you know when the energy is right and wrong, and you know all of those kind of things. Mechanically, all the problems, the issues that you're speaking of, like I've had them a million times and I've failed a million times. It's just I've learned from the failing. But what won't happen is you attend a class for 6 months and you have the ability to understand the mechanics of why
It's
we're
not
doing
that.
what we do and then run that workshop yourself is just ridiculous. You're not
Mm-mm.
gonna.
No.
So I think people are looking for a shortcut, but I
Yeah.
think an establishment that you've got down, your energy changes. If you've been doing something 6 months, there's this naivety, this excitement, this pressure, this to someone that's been doing it 10, 20 years, there's a controlled essence to them, and they know what they're doing. They've been here before. And it just seems more professional, doesn't it? It's just you
Yeah.
feel like you're with someone that's got knowledge rather than someone that's playing. So one of those.
And I felt like, I don't know how you felt, but I felt like after 5 solid years,
Mm.
I kind of had an understanding enough to go to the public, not to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in this position that you're speaking of, but at least give an
Yeah.
ethical, decent reading consistently and not be refunding
The
people's
problem is
money,
with
you know?
mediumship is that it absorbs everything, doesn't it? It consumes every minute. That's
Yeah.
the problem with it. So when we're talking like 3 years development, that's not just classes, is it? That's sitting at home,
Mhm.
and you're thinking, and you wake up in the morning and you've had this crazy dream and you're thinking, and so
Yeah.
3 years is a solid 3 years, ain't it?
Yeah.
So I think in that kind of time frame, 3, 4, 5, I think you've got a really good um, basis to work from.
Mhm.
And after 3, 4 years, hopefully, again, you're not seeing it everywhere. You've got more of an idea of what you want, like where you want to take it, what you want to do. The biggest mistake mediums can make is they've got a finger in the pie of inspirational writing or speaking, and then they've got a finger in the pie of healing. And
Ants.
yeah, there's one in trance, there's one in mediumship, there's one in psychic stuff, and I
Yeah.
love the cards and the crystals, and your 3 years are now spread over 7, 8 different subjects. My
That's
my 3, 4, 5 years was everything was mediumship, evidential mediumship,
me
every
too.
minute of every day. So
I'm happy I was that way. I wasn't distracted. So I know that, so 5 years of reading, and then there's that idea that, well, your mediumship, your guides, people say this, will take you where it's supposed to go.
no,
What are your
absolutely
thoughts
not.
on that?
No, nonsense.
So
Absolute
glad you
nonsense.
said that.
Fucking hell.
Thank you.
I mean,
So
that'd
tell
make
me
me
about that.
amazing, wouldn't they? That'd make me absolutely
I'm like,
amazing.
well, then where, I guess my guides aren't really,
I
so
keep missing this fucking bus. Where is this bus to take me there? Do you know what I mean? It's like, am I always late, or
well,
it
it
happened?
goes in line with this ego, right? Of I'm chosen, I'm special, these my
Yeah,
guides are better than yours. I channel Jesus or whatever.
yeah,
But I'm really more of like, to me at least, how am I meeting what I say I want? So if I say I'd like to be a professional medium, then how do I act as though I'm doing that? Like,
yeah.
so
The,
where
the
is
the
my action
professionalism
in
that
that?
goes with it, then it needs that public awareness that you're offering professional mediumship in that sense. You'll have very extroverted characters, but they've got a buddy that owns, or not a buddy, it's a buddy of a buddy that owns the theatre down the road.
Yeah.
Then they'll go, "Oh, can I book that in June? Can I book that? Can I have that?" And they'll go, "Yeah, yeah, 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 have it." And now they've hit the big stage. They've got this theatre, this theatre them, and then they've got the front, to then go, "I'll book another one," and they book another one, they book another one, and then slowly they move further afield, don't they?
Yeah.
Do it. Um, are the numbers always there? I think that looks very manipulated. I'm not sure it is always there. Um, but that's how that works. They've got a friend in TV, they've got a friend in theatre, they've got a friend of a friend that knows someone that can sort of give you a little, lift or pointed direction. I think someone like yourself, as you're talking there, I've got 5 years under my belt, but I know I've got to move it, but where do I move it to and how do I move it? I think a lot of people get to that point, but the spirit world are not coming to save you. They're not coming to do that. They can't do that. They
Yeah.
would, but so it's up to you to make that a little bit uncomfortable for yourself, in that sense. So, 5 years of readings, like in the next 6 months, tell every single one of your clients, like there's a $5 reduction if you do a Google review. So you up your rate by $5 to give them a $5 discount when they write a Google review, and then people start seeing it and they want to book in, and very quickly you get busy, don't you?
Mhm.
So they want a reward. They want something. So whatever that reward is, you need to give them a reward for taking the time out to write about their episode that they had with you. And you're not saying be nice, be kind, be whatever, be honest, write
Mhm.
a review, and eventually that will start to go that way. Much smaller parties are worth doing. They're really worth doing.
Mhm.
I will never do it again.
I was
But the
gonna say,
experience
I've done a
is
lot of the
amazing, and it
yeah,
is
it
amazing.
is, it is.
But then once you build up that kind of repertoire where you're doing these smaller parties, you can then build on it from there. I think it's actually a little bit easier now, to create the gallery style, because I'm talking to you the other bloody side of the world, which is amazing, isn't it?
Mhm.
So start capping them at 20, do 20 man dems, 20 person dem, 20, 20, 20, 20. Get a few of them under your belt. Now do 50 and do 50 and do 50 and do 50. And then eventually do a big one. You know, you go for the big one, and it's that momentum. They will encourage you every step of the way. They just can't make you do it. So the awareness will be there, and that idea will start to form. They'll be flooding you with this awareness. Like, have you thought about booking a dem?
Yeah,
And then you're like,
okay.
well, I am, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And you're fighting your own idea or your own inspiration at that point, aren't you?
Yeah,
Um,
and that's a big part of this. Um, I I also wanted to say, like, I think a lot of Americans, me being one of
yeah,
them, we think, "Oh, well, the UK mediums are they have it easy because you've got all these spiritualist churches and we have none." So, that's sort of a way
so
around that, isn't it?
open them, start them.
That's
That's
so
what I
funny that
do.
you say that. I wanted to do that.
Open them. So, and then get a friend to
Yeah.
open one, and then get another one. Very quickly, you've got loads of friends that open centers. You know,
Yeah.
it hasn't got to be purpose built centers, has it? You hire it, which a lot of people do in the UK. They hire the venue. And then the entrance fee is just to cover the bills, you know, cover the medium, cover the cost of the keeping the doors open for 3 hours on a chosen night. So really
So they
simple.
don't own that church, you're saying. They're just saying, "Can we use your church to have
There's a
more."
lot of centres that are owned. There is a lot. I don't know the exact number. It's something in the region of 1,500, 1,700 SNU owned churches. So that'll be there, but
Oh,
that's across the nation, across Great Britain, you know. So, but there's loads. There's probably 4 times that amount of independent, and it's just Doris down the road that's been connected to the spirit world for 30, 40 years, and she hires the village hall.
nice.
And now everyone just goes there every Wednesday night to see a medium. So you
Oh.
first got to create it, haven't you? You got to
Mhm.
create that space to do that. And they'll travel. I mean, I drive for hours if there's a good medium on. I'd drive for hours to go and see them. So
Yeah,
you
me too.
get them dotted up enough. You know, you do one where you are, and you get someone in California, you get someone in Florida, you get someone in
Mhm.
very quickly, you start getting these dotted around everywhere. But you can't moan about it. Can't do that. Like,
No.
you've got to create it. Like, if
Yeah,
it's not being done, then be the person doing it,
absolutely.
isn't it?
Which
So
which also brings me to, do you have time to keep
I've
talking?
got loads of time. Loads.
Okay.
Yeah.
It brings me to something that you said that I has really resonated with me, which is people you can't hide mediumship. So if we're really surrendering, then
Mm.
why are you sitting in a room for 20 years practicing with other students? Most likely the same students and the same teachers. It's like you
That's
talked
so true,
about,
isn't it?
right? And so I see that all the time, or I used to when I
Yeah.
was going to the same classes. But these mediums they've been doing it 20 years, but they will not go out of that room.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
will not
Yeah,
take
but after
shit.
20 years, they're like, Kieran, I've got your dad here, and he wants to say, you know, like blah 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 blah, and there's no pressure. They know your dad's in the spirit world. I mean, they've cleaned their name, they've got their occupation, they know how he died, they know his personality traits. I mean, they've been doing it 20 years in that room, you know, so that now they actually believe that they know your dad. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you know, when it gets really bad, when before class starts, and I lean over and go, Kira, your dad turned up last night at circle. We were having
Mhm.
circle, and he wants me to say to you.
Mhm.
You got issues in there. That's a problem. That is a
That's
problem.
definitely a
So,
problem.
it's all about comfortable being uncomfortable, isn't it? Like, I'm
Yeah,
terrified of the stage, and yet I
me
still
too.
get up. I'm terrified of the read, but I still do it. But I've
Mm,
just got used to being terrified. It's not
mm,
that I'm not terrified. It's that space now.
mhm.
It's no different to someone that's like an adrenaline junkie, is it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like they go for thrill seeking, throwing themselves off a cliff or a building and opening a parachute. And that's what I'm doing on a stage. Like, oh God, here we go. And there it is, because I don't know what's coming. I think what happens in a situation where they've all been sitting in the room for many, 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 many years, it's more of a friendship, social gathering than development.
Yeah, it actually I think that connects the dots then for me because I would see a lot of these mediums will go out on some sort of gallery reading with their teacher or what have you, and they're starting to read their teacher. And I'm like, there's no way. It doesn't make any sense to me
Why they
if
would do that.
you why would you be reading for your teacher even in a throw out situation and you're
Yeah.
throwing
So we've
out
got a
and
general
the teacher
public of
claims it
40 people in there and the teacher's got it. Yeah.
and the teacher's got a reading who's had thousands of readings. It does if this we're doing something wrong here. If
Exactly.
if spirit world is intelligent, that does not show me
I think you should
intelligence.
always ask the question of where's the intelligence there? They're meant to be intelligent, and we're trying to comprehend it as a human. So the
Yeah,
intelligence will be far greater than what my comprehension will be. And
yeah.
yet, you know, the demonstrator's gone to the same person in a room of 100 3 times. That doesn't seem very
It
clever.
doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense, does
Yeah.
it?
That's mechanically, you've got it wrong. Mechanically, you're doing something wrong.
And do you think that that also applies to I just got finished with a big event where I was doing several readings, with groups of people, and so each medium had a different group, but that
Mhm.
group was traveling around together.
Yeah.
What do you think about the person that's getting multiple readings within that kind of situation, not from the same medium, from different mediums?
But the medium started working early. So if you're working, let's say I'm working and I go
No,
to
these are
the lady,
but no, they're different though, because the medium can't see the other medium.
right, okay,
So
so
does that make
what's that?
sense? So
Yeah, so give me that situation.
I have a group of 17 people,
Yeah,
okay, and
and
I
then
give
you
my
work.
readings, and I'm working, and I got through, like, 14 of them,
Yeah.
and then they go to the next medium. The medium hasn't seen me, they haven't seen the readings, they haven't seen the people. So
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that group travels to that medium, and that
Oh,
medium
okay, yeah. So them 17 people move over to the other medium.
and I get the next 17 people. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was what I just got through.
Well, we would call that like, if it was really persistent, we call that like a message grabber here in the UK. Um, but it may also be that their mind is a lot more freer than someone else. So let's say I'm one of your 17 and I'm like, well, if she don't say my sister done hairdressing, then I'm not claiming it.
Yeah,
And then you're up there and you say, I've got an 18-year-old girl, she's into nights out, she's got her shoes, but you haven't said hairdressing, and I'm not putting my hand up.
okay.
But that lady's got an 18-year-old that was into going out and into thing, but you've got one thing wrong. She'll go, I understand most of that, but I can't take the alcohol. And
Yeah.
then you go, okay, let's see what happens. I would then call that like a rescue mission. The spirit world won't let you fail. So they
Mm.
tried to get to me, but I'm being an idiot and you haven't said hairdresser, so I'm not putting my hand up. So it's like 4 out of 5 statements can be taken by this very open individual that then take the hit on the one that's gone, then the communicator will swap out, and her person will then be there.
That is, I think, so important for people. So that talks about the sitter being open because I've had a lot of skeptics. I've had a lot of people
Yeah,
that
yeah,
are like,
yeah.
I'm not doing this unless you give me that. And the reading, I have to admit, is often a little strained for me. I'm sure you're kind of at the point where you're so used to it. I'm fairly used to it, but still, I can feel that difference where I'm like, it's kind of
The
stop
resistance.
and go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can feel that resistance, and I'm almost becoming this really choppy medium.
Yeah, I
So
think the problem is that we become really, really passionate in our work. That's the problem. And in our passion, we can be a little bit forceful with our idea. So like it's not even in question, is it? We know there's a spirit world there.
Yeah.
But the client's coming in and they're kind of like, well, I hope it's there, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're kind of like resistant to that. There's like a clash there. Well, it is there. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not sure, but it is
Yes.
there, but I'm not sure. So now you've got this kind of like, I'm not getting anywhere kind of energy to it. Um, so
Yeah.
after many, many years of working, let's say 5, I did learn that I don't want to be doing 25 to 35-year-old women that has no interest in a loved one. They just want me kind of information, which is a
Yeah.
psychic reading. I just refuse them now. I just don't do them. Like I'm not interested in them. It's evidential mediumship. That I've funneled my clientele in a way that only people that need evidence for a spirit world is there. So I rarely get that situation where they don't really believe in it. Like come into the room. It doesn't really happen to me. They know everything. They've been everywhere. They've tried everyone. It's failed, and then they get to me. Then my mindset's right. You ready? We need to show her that you're here, and then away we go. Then it just works in that way. But again, there's no
So
pressure on me. The pressure's on them.
that I think the people that I get that are like that are usually the wife that brought the husband that doesn't want to be there. And this is a dem
Yeah,
kind of situation.
yeah, yeah.
But
The
he's
spirit
there
world
because
tends to take me to those people, you know. So if I'm doing that and
yeah,
there's a guy and he's being dragged along, he's never coming back. He's never coming back. The spirit world will take their opportunity to someone that will listen, they will get to that man because he would never walk into the center off his own back. They'll never get there, but he's recently lost his mum.
that's fascinating because I think most mediums would say they don't get readings for someone like that because of the guy's energy.
No, absolutely not. Couldn't give a shit about their energy. The energy is about the communicator for that, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it happened recently to me. A guy walked in and he had like a big flame up his neck and you know, and I joked and I was like, "You've been dragged along tonight, haven't you?"
Yeah, right?
And he just rolled his eyes as if to go, "Don't even start." Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I started my demo. I'm 2 links in or whatever. Um, and then I bring forward this lady, quite a blunt lady, a harsh lady. I think she was from like East London or something like that. I don't know. But so she was like salt of the earth kind of woman. Like she's taking no nonsense, you know. And I've said a couple of bits, and I could see him kind of like, meh, what's that? That sounds. And I saw his wife go, "This, that's your mum. That's your mum." You know, like
Wow.
with the evidence, and then eventually he didn't put his hand up. He didn't. I done a couple more statements, and then I just leant over like, "You understand this, right? All my awareness is coming to you, so you understand this as your mum." And he went, "Maybe." Do you know what I mean? And so then I was like, "Okay, not to worry, work with me. If you're uncomfortable at any time, just tell me to stop." And now
Mm.
mum wants me to say, and now mum's doing this, and now mum shows me she wants to remind you of and da 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 da. Get to the message, do the message. And he was like, you could see he was touched. So he'd never been a big burly guy or whatever. I finished the dem. I usually leave my partner in there to deal with like the chaos that's about to take place. Usually get a few questions that want to be asked or whatever. I goes outside, I light a cigarette just to sort of like clear my mind, become Charlie again and sort of like just stand there, ground myself off, undo my tie, undo my cufflinks, you know, and sort of like relax. And he come from like a dark corner and he walked round. He said, "I just wanted to stay behind and have a quick chat with you." Never thought I'd end up at an event like this, and I
Wow.
never thought like it would happen. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you did that, but everything you said there was my mum.
Wow.
So I don't know why, but I feel like I need to thank you. And I
Oh,
was like, "That's cool, mate. That's cool." And
yeah.
off he went. Off he walked down the road, and you know, but you know, his mind was fried for a couple of days.
Mhm.
You know, like, and at the very least, he was thinking about his mum. The very
Yeah.
least.
Of course.
which is an inlet for her, isn't it? Just to influence and like inspire in some sort of way that
Oh,
maybe I'll see him again, maybe I won't, but
you made me think of something when you said, were describing her as you kind of led me into how that must have felt for him. But you also led me into thinking, I see a lot of mediums that are, got a woman, she's salt of the earth, she's very friendly, she's really nice. But that makes me think, oh, no wonder readings are so boring, is because you
you're
don't
boring.
think that woman who's cursing or is
Yeah,
really
no, no, no,
intense
no.
or like hitting her kid on the head or whatever,
But
you're
I love
not
her.
getting that person because you're love and light.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
It's
thinking love
beyond
and light
what's
is
going
the
on
spirit
there.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just made me I knew that
And
already.
they're thinking about how they're saying it. They're thinking a lot about their speech, aren't they? A lot of people are talking with this. It's not even an accent, but with this elocution. I don't know if they're taking classes. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Uh,
This
uh,
is how I talk. This is me. So when I'm like, "Ooh, I've got a really colourful mum coming forward here," like
yes.
I know she would like do this or do that, and now she wants me to say, and now she's showing me that she did, and my job is to animate the individual that no one else can see. That's my
Mhm.
job. But
Yeah.
when I'm stood up and I'm talking through my fingers and I'm not moving and I'm putting on this very fake accent and I'm not allowing you in this dynamic, and that's when it just feels like we're doing it. This ain't right.
Something's really wrong. And
Something's wrong
also,
here.
every spirit person that's coming forward feels a little bit the same, which is why I'm so bored by mediumship at this point in my career.
I
I mean,
don't
I've been watching and
Yeah.
doing mediumship for 10 years, and I'm like, this is so boring.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you would maybe have to ask my partner, but she's been at every dem since we've been doing it. But I don't think there's been 2 dems the same, 2
and they
communications
shouldn't
the same.
be. And just from what
They're
you were
unique.
saying, it's like, so maybe the other message to mediums is, take the risk of maybe not everybody is nice. Maybe not everybody speaks in
They're not.
proper English or whatever.
Even the ones that say they're nice, they're rarely nice in life, are
Right.
they? So
Right.
it's they've got to be like the wonderful thing about mediumship is it's a truth essence. Even if they wanted to lie, they can't. Their
Yeah.
energy is their purity, so it's what it is. It is what it is. So I say it as I receive it, as I get it, as I'm aware of it, which is sometimes, God, this is gonna be problematic, or this is and equally there are ones that are, wow, that was beautiful. Like
Mhm.
they got life right, That was
Mhm.
wonderful. So just shouldn't be the same. Should not be the same ever. But we're all unique. All our people are unique, and it's that uniqueness that I want to find from it. I'm not trying to sell a book. I'm not trying to fill a stage. I'm not trying to do any of them things. So it don't matter. I haven't got a adhere to any kind of element of popularity or, will I get booked next year at this school or that college or that I ain't got to worry about any of that. I'm just doing everything pure. So it gets to the point where I work for the spirit world in that sense. So it's like you tend to drop banners. You'll never hear me
Mhm.
saying worldwide medium, international medium. You'll
But
never
yet you are.
hear me. I'm Charlie. I'm medium Charlie. That's it. And I work for spirit. So and providing I work in that essence of truth and integrity and ethics are up to scratch, and my ego is suppressed, as best I can be, then the communication will be very detailed, very factual, very on point, and go from there. So it's all a lot of people are about numbers and fame and all that kind of stuff. I'm definitely on the encouraging side of organic. Do it organic, and I'll see you in 30 years while I'm still doing it. It's
Absolutely.
not about material things or whatever. The articles will come, the podcasts will come, the interviews come, the journalism comes, it all comes, but like while you're fighting for it and the demand for it and you're hungry for it, like, or you may even be blind to it, but
Mhm.
that's a problem.
Yeah,
That's
that's when we
very
need to
easy
check
to say.
ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those. I mean, there's a market for it all. People love the pretending mediumship. It's all psychic. The majority, 95% of it's psychic, 5% maybe at a
Mhm.
push is mediumship, and it's all a wonderful show and what have you. And people love it, don't they? They get a bottle of prosecco and they go out with the girls and they do whatever they need to do. And it's got a
Absolutely.
market for it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
What they don't realize is the damage they're causing. And it's that
absolutely.
that that people that are trying to bring a standard and a quality and that magic that it's got like a special place, hasn't it? That kind of style of mediumship, that where the
Yeah.
standard, the quality, the essence is in the room. Everyone knows the spirit world are in company, and that's a really special moment. And
Yeah.
the
You live for
dilution is
those.
just overwhelming by people playing.
Yeah,
So
playing medium, I think, is the quote of the day for sure, playing
yeah, yeah.
medium.
But I got 75,000 views on my short on TikTok, so
Mm. So I'm definitely a medium.
yeah.
Um, I wanted to bring up a couple of other things that I've experienced with you or since training
Mhm.
with you. So I was always taught you can't just say, she's showing me a red car. Like you can't say that because you have to have a story that's attached to why the red car is there and what it means and on and on. And so
So
I
what,
know
you've got to understand the car.
you have to understand the car. That's literally how I was taught for the 7 years. Well, I left after 5 years, but
You've
yeah, I
got to
was taught
understand the car from someone that you don't
that
know
you don't know.
and to the person in front of you that you don't know, and you've to understand the story behind the
Yeah,
car that you don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So
That
since
seems
then,
silly, that.
it's ridiculous, and I never thought logically because I didn't know. I didn't even know what spiritualism was when I signed up for mediumship.
Spiritualism.
I had no idea, and here I was with this spiritualist teacher, and I didn't know, but
Teacher or restriction? I don't know. I'm
restrictor, but with a spiritualist restrictor telling me I need to still tell stories about a car that I didn't know about and I didn't have a reference to. So I can't believe I even did mediumship. I don't know how they do mediumship. I honestly do not understand
the
how
problem
they've
is
done
in the
it.
style that you're describing, in the style that you're describing, there's we'll play. We'll just play. And
Yeah,
at the end of the play, the
yeah,
storybook, I'll
yeah.
put something really, really obvious on the end. Really, really obvious. I'll show you.
Okay.
So I'm aware of a lady that wants to step forward for you, Kira. This is an older lady, but she's got loads and loads of color in her life. Loads and loads of color. I know that I've moved all around the globe. I've been to Europe and I've moved across the US. I think that she's even trying to show me Canada there. But she met her downfall. She found alcohol. She found like a uh, like recreational drugs, and she found men and what have you. And very quickly she declines. Her looks go and absolutely everything. And before you know it, the best years of her life are gone. And you'd understand your grandmother's in the spirit world, and that's you will say yes,
For grandmother.
the grandmother, but you're not agreeing to anything else. You're
Yeah.
not agreeing
Yeah.
to anything else. And that is my problem with that style of mediumship. I want the check on Europe. I want the check on the US and Canada. I want the best years of her life gone to alcohol. You understand that? And you understand the drugs and the men and the prime and the. So in my style, we'll have 20 yeses. In that style, you'll hear the client what? Three, four
What do you want?
times in a link?
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
mediumship. That's not mediumship. That's showmanship on a stage, which is actually very passive aggressive because
Mm.
it's quite a forceful style. And the medium probably looks amazing in their storytelling,
Do.
but you need to ask the client, how right was she or he in that moment? And there'll be very little, very,
Mm.
very. So it's that's storybook style. I think there is a way of doing storybook style. Uh, but I can get validation all the way through. I can.
Right. Right.
I'll storybook it, but I'll get validation all the way through. But you don't see that. You're not seeing that. So it's a very forceful kind of way of working. Very
Well,
elaborate and very generic. Always ends on a generic. Go on YouTube and you'll watch all the videos, and the validation point is a very basic validation point. So
and so when you were taught, where I was taught like that, excuse me, um, when I was training myself to let that go and just saying what I got, even if it was wrong, I have to say there was a lot of wrong in there.
yes, there is.
Um, but then I would say something and it was right, but then there wouldn't be anything after it.
Yeah.
So for the person that's there, what would you say to them that they're just relearning how to get that
They would have
next
to
thing that
relearn,
goes?
wouldn't they? The problem that you've got is that is that you say it and you get it right, and it's a great moment, ain't it? Because you're immediately in your head, like,
Yeah.
"Yay! I've been working
It
so hard at that, yay!"
yeah.
Which means you're not with the communicator, you're
Uh,
thinking.
okay. Right.
So then I reestablish my link, and there'll be something else. There will be, absolutely, and it will absolutely be right if you get it in the right place again. The
Yeah.
problem that mediums have is they try to add that and that together.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you've got. So you say the thing that's right, and you're like, "Whoa, wow." And then you get something else. You can't, you're like, "But how do them two go together?
Mhm,
That
mhm.
doesn't make sense." And now you're involved, and now it will go wrong. And it's not for you to understand it or put it together. The example I always use is when my partner went to the hair salon. I was pumping up a spray can. There was an explosion. It went in her hair. She was about to lose all her hair from this very strong chemical. And through mediumship, a simple story like that would be, I need you to talk about the spray can. And you say spray can, and my partner goes, yeah. And then you go, now he wants me to talk about an explosion. And she'll be like, right. And then you say, now he's making me aware of hair. The client is blown away because the client, my partner in this example, will relive that moment when that explosion took place with a canister, and that chemical went all in her freshly groomed hair from the hair salon. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it sends her on a memory of, "Oh my god, you have my person there."
Yeah. And
And
that's an extraordinary amount of trust with the medium to say each one of those things that don't seem to
I
mean
hear that a lot, you
anything.
know, but, I
Yeah.
don't think it is. If you're moving home and you say to me, "Are you available tomorrow?" And I find out, "Am I available tomorrow?" "Yeah, you're available." "Yeah, yeah, sure. What do you want me to do?" I need help loading the, um, I don't know what you call it, the lorry.
There
Yay, we're back.
there we go.
Just froze for a sec. So you asked me to help you load the big vehicle, the lorry. I don't know what you call them over there, but, like a massive 18-wheeler lorry to move your house.
Truck? Like
Yeah, truck. Yeah,
18-wheeler?
yeah, truck.
Truck,
Perfect. Of
18-wheeler?
course, it's a bloody truck. So it's so and you say that pile of boxes over there. Can you just put them at the back of that truck for me? And I go, yeah, sure. And then I pick them up and I take them to the back of the truck. That's all I do.
Right. That's it.
I don't think that takes a
That
tremendous
simple.
amount of trust in you, in my ability to go pick up a box and put it in the back of a truck. I don't think that's a tremendous amount of trust. I think
Yeah.
what would be really annoying is if I go, "What's in the box, Kira?"
Yeah. That's
And then I
super
start undoing the box. That's even worse, ain't it? It's like, "Oh my god, what have you got in here? Why
yeah.
have you got that and that? What is going on there?" That would be annoying, wouldn't it? And, very quickly, you'll be like, "Do you know what? I need this done by the end of the day. I'll do it on my own, I think. I'll be quicker."
Yeah, it's too much energy.
Way too much. Like, will you put the fucking box down? Will you stay out of the box? Stop
Please,
asking me questions. Just
please
move the box.
tell my story.
And
You
that's
know,
it. That's all I do. Is just
y
move the box.
you also somebody asked you a question and you're like, "I love it when people ask this question, don't you?" And you could see
Mm.
the look in your eye because
Mhm.
the person said, "Well, how come they don't just give me the box then?" So, right? Because they're saying,
But
"Well,
they
how come
do.
the world don't give me that and I have to say that and then I get it wrong because they didn't just give me that."
Yeah.
So
And that is because you've taught them. You've taught them that you're about to open the box and destroy the box. I think the most common one that I see would be, the medium will be, they're showing me, that they're in hospital, and I'll stop the student and go, how did you get that?" And they'll be like, "Well, they showed me a nurse."
yeah,
I'll be like, "So why did you say hospital then?" Like, "Well, I don't know." Like,
2
that's
and
where they work,
2.
innit? That's what's going on. So, okay, let's find out. Client, do you understand that they were in hospital? No. Okay, do you understand a nurse? Absolutely. So I know this man liked fishing. Okay, so uh, we're working through it, and you're now going to tell me that you saw a man with a rod and a bit of line and a fish, right? No, no, no. Show me water.
Yeah,
But you're
nowhere
saying
near.
fishing. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. That makes no sense. So the spirit world can't say water
Yeah, because
because
it's the
because
same
then
with fishing.
they go, no, 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 don't give her water. Fucking hell, don't give her water. Jesus Christ. She'll say that he was like this really avid fisherman. Okay,
Yeah.
then talk about his wife that was a nurse. No, 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 don't do that.
Mm,
She'll start
say
talking about a long
hospital.
stay in hospital.
Ah,
And so you've taught them that. You've taught them that you're gonna do that. Whereas I've taught mine, if you want me to say water, show me water. If you want me to say fishing, then show me a man fishing or a woman fishing. Like if you want me to talk about a hospital, then show me a hospital. And if you want to talk about a nurse, then show me a nurse. My only promise that I can make there is if you give me it, I'll say it. And
yeah.
that's the belly flip. Because
Yep.
then the nurse turns up and I go, and the difference is in student and me in the career so far is the student will go, would you accept a nurse? They'd say, please say yes.
Please God. Yes.
Whereas I go, and now he wants me to talk about the nurse.
Mhm.
And I just make it sound like I'm really confident about what he wants to talk about. I am confident that that's what they want to talk about because they gave me that, but I don't know what it's about. And
Until
that's
then.
it. Yeah, until the next
Yeah,
bit. Even
until the
then,
next
and
yeah,
like maybe at the end of a link or end of a 30-minute read, I've got a better understanding of who this person is, but I don't know them, do I? Not
yeah,
like my client knows them. So I just gave up trying to work that out. Like, what's the point?
yeah.
Like they're gonna leave. That my client's gonna leave, they're gonna leave. And then it's gonna be a new one and a new one. And all that time and effort wasted on who are you? What's your story? What are you about? And understanding their story, giving it to someone that I don't know. And what a waste of time and energy.
Energy.
That's like you worrying about my maintenance around the house.
Yeah,
I've got to do. And you're
it's
the other side of the
exhausting.
world, and you're just like, and we meet up with you later, and you look like you're stressed. Like, what? Everything all right? And you're like, no, you've got to cut the grass in there. You got to fix that fence panel that blew down the other day. And what?
No
Why?
wonder
Why are
people
you
are so
worrying about that?
exhausted. Well, no wonder we're so
Exhausted,
tired.
burnout, burnout.
Yeah.
Everyone's so close to burnout.
They're
So
close
no
to
one
burnout for
talks
that.
about it.
Nobody talks about this, and again, we could go another hour and a half, but nobody talks about that or how exhausting it is to care how you are reacting to me when I'm giving the reading. I know I used to put a lot of energy in the sitter, and I would just be traumatized this whole time, which I learned fairly quickly, not quickly enough, that a lot of times they've just been told not to say anything to me, and
Yeah,
that look
yeah,
on
of
their
course.
face has to do with that.
I would do it, wouldn't I? If I wasn't wise to what was going on, and they were like, "Oh, I saw you on a podcast," and I'd be like, "Oh, what with Kira? Yeah, you should book a reading with her, but don't give her anything. You
Yeah.
don't even smile at the woman. Hearing you, she's a medium. Make sure she tells you."
Yeah.
And that's TV again, isn't it? That's done that. These two want a conversation. So I need them as part of that conversation as much as possible. I don't mean I need them talking. I need them saying yes. So now they're making me aware of fill in the blank, and yeah, yeah, absolutely. And now he wants to say, and now he's doing, and now, and it'll be yes and yes and yes, and they're having a chat, aren't they?
And do
I've
you
watched mediums with the communicator and the client, and they're looking at the wall.
oh,
Imagine going to the
the
doctor.
time, all the
Imagine
time.
going to the doctor, and there's like a mad issue going on.
I
And they're over by the wall, and they're looking at the wall, and they're just like, they look
staring at the
absent
ceiling.
or vacant or, like, "Yeah, we got some bad news, Charlie." Like, "Well, can you look at me then? Jesus, like, what are you doing? Looking at..."
Closing their eyes.
Yeah, that's
What about
madness.
or also mediums that are writing the whole time?
Oh, no, I can't stand that. It's very distracting,
Yeah.
especially the sound.
Yeah, right. But I also and we can end whenever you want to, but I I was speaking to somebody, that I work for this, foundation for that does mediumship, but he was saying one thing that's really destroyed mediumship, obviously, is television, but mediums have this feeling that they have to kind of like fire hose people with information instead of allowing them to process the information,
Well, the
and I thought,
process is
"Yeah,
the journey, isn't it?
yes."
That is
So
the journey.
it
That's when Nana gets to hug you, isn't it? In that moment, when you're having the memory of, like, being a young woman and, you can still catch a smell or a
yes,
laugh or whatever, and you have that memory and you catch the smell and you hear her laugh, and then I go, "And now grandma wants me to say," and I send you
yeah.
on another journey.
That's the beauty of mediumship, but it's being
They're
raw
worried
with
of the
being raw.
no, though. It's kind of like a machine gun tactic, isn't it? It's like, if I talk
Yes.
fast enough, you don't get a chance to answer me. And she wants to talk about the flags and the pond and the trips away, and she remembers brushing your hair at bath time, and you're like, "Jesus Christ, I haven't had a chance to say yes or
I don't
no."
even know,
You don't know
yeah.
what's going on. It's just like you're being hit with a train, ain't it? Like, what is happening here? And then if you ask a client about that, you go, "Was it any good?" And they go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Like, what do you remember?" Nothing. I don't know. She spoke too quick. I can't really remember. I know she said a lot though.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anybody talk about this where there's an art to mediumship, obviously, and how we're delivering things and what
I
we're
don't
getting.
even think it's mediumship. I think it's the art of conversation. If you, and
Well
someone
said.
else goes to Starbucks,
Yeah,
and me and you are machine gunning one another like, "Ba, ba, 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 ba," the third person's gonna get up and leave, ain't they? They're
yeah.
certainly not taking our invite next time. Like, "Do you wanna come along for another chat?" "No, you're all right."
No.
You are a nightmare. You're intense, and I feel uncomfortable around you, and
Oh,
we're
it's
not
such a good point. It's just a conversation back to just reality. It's a conversation. So I have
Mm.
to pause for you to react or
Like
cry
in
or
anything,
remember or
isn't it?
whatever.
In
Yeah,
any in the pacing of this podcast.
yeah,
You ask me something, I answer, you have a say, and then you ask me something, and then I answer, and that's what you do, isn't it? I mean, that's what it is. So this dude, no one can see him, no one. I'll be your voice, buddy. What do you want me to say? And so
right.
I say it, and then they say something back, and then I go get something else, and I say something. I'm just the bridge, aren't I? That's all I am.
Yeah. God, it needs
Uh,
to be just I feel like there's so many things that you said this hour and a half. Thank you for all this time,
well,
but that I
people
need to
just
like clip up and just broadcast to the world, you know?
that's the
But it's
point
so
of teaching, though,
simple.
isn't it? It would, if anyone knows me, it's mediumship is the easiest thing I've ever done. It's the laziest thing I've ever done. The laziest thing, honestly. So if I want to go and make a cup of tea right now, it would be more effort than mediumship to make a cup of tea in the UK. Because I've got to get out my chair, I've got to go and watch the kettle boil, I've got to get the tea bag, I've got to stir it, I've got to brew it, I've got to. Mediumship is like, what do you want me to do? Okay, so he wants me to say blah, 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 blah. Now what do you want me to do? Yeah, okay. That, and that's it. So I get to sit here or stand on the stage and someone else tells me everything to do. So, like,
Yeah,
just say
but
that
you know,
for me.
there's a lot of mediums that are watching this right now that are saying, "It's never been easy for me." Like, what he's saying is not true. Like, "This is the hardest thing I've ever done in
They've
my
been
life."
taught that though, haven't they? They've been
Yeah.
taught that. The hardest thing is suppressing their own identity. That's the hardest bit. That
Yeah.
But you have to remember that training person, that medium, whatever, that's sitting there saying absolutely not, I completely disagree with him, is because they are the main character in their movie.
Right.
What they
Yeah.
haven't learned is they're only an extra in mine.
Yeah. I
I'm the
think
main character in mine, and you're an extra today. You're an extra. And in your story, I'm just an extra in yours. I'm nothing in your story other than this hour and a half or whatever. But you'll turn off and I'll be irrelevant to you. The
right.
problem is with identity is we're like, no, we're more important than that. We've
Yeah.
been chosen. We're
Right.
chosen. I've got that special gene, that makes me a medium.
I've had it
And
since a
that's the
child.
problem. Yeah, exactly. That's the
Yeah.
problem, is the suppressing of your own identity in a conversation that's got nothing to do with you. Nothing. You're
Yeah,
just
you're right. I think the hardest part for me has been all of the failures that I've had, but that has to do with me and my ego, really.
it will
But
all
all
be
the
ego. It's a nice
yeah.
reality that you can see that. Equally, I think all of the problems that you live, endure, and learn by are mistakes that you will never make again, because we heard how you felt about the lady and not getting her son. They scar, don't they?
Oh, it
You
still
you
hurts.
you'll
I could still
never
see
make
her.
that. Yeah, you'll never make that mistake again, though. So that there's gotta be an element of gratitude to that lady. There's gotta be, because,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
changed thousands of readings in my future because of the episode that we had there. And so you learn from your mistake. What's never good is you keep doing the mistake.
Right.
That
Of
makes no
course.
sense. That's
Yeah.
like practice, isn't it? You go and practice what you already do, but you're not changing anything. You're practicing getting bad. You
What's
get
the
good at
point?
being bad.
Yeah, we
Mental.
see that a lot. I wondered if so for the person these podcasts that I've done with you, I was talking to somebody and she was like, "I feel like it's for mediums that have already they know what all of this stuff is." Um, but for the person that just wants to connect with their son or just wants to feel what do you say to that person?
What, to start mediumship, or just to have the experience that a medium would have? I need to understand the question.
I this person that I'm thinking of is started mediumship to be closer to her son. So I
Yeah.
don't know that she even wants to do mediumship, but she
But,
loves it when she does. But
well,
what do you
then my advice to someone like that is that, like, you take it for what it is in the moment. So, like, the memory, I I don't know if in the last if in the last podcast I spoke about the power of thought. Did I? Did I speak about that in the last one?
briefly, I wanna
Briefly.
yeah, but
Yeah.
let's
So
talk about that.
and so if your friend is thinking that thought process about her son and she wants to spend time close with her son, then in that thought process, the son will be there and she'll have this experience. She'll get emotional. She'll feel tingly. She'll feel whatever. You know,
Mhm.
it's the damage that's done to that is afterwards, when logic's back, when logic and judgment's back. She's like, oh, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe I made that up. Maybe I wanted it. And the human mind will destroy that experience for her. So
Right.
their moments need to be just as they are, their moments, and don't think about them afterwards. It was for the moment. And if you
Mm.
can build a relationship like that, you'll have moments with the spirit world. So as a medium, you then just go and have moments to give to people these special moments. It's like a dem. If you watch a dem, if you're at a dem and you watch it, there is information missing from the recording of the dem. You don't know what it is, you don't know what it was, but it's like the energy, the air, the location is speaking to you, which a camera doesn't pick up.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that like, if you go, "Oh, it was amazing, this den was amazing. I went and watched this Kira, right? She done this massive den, and it was amazing. Watch." And then I press play, and I'll be like, "That what? It didn't feel like that when I was there.
Yeah,
It
it's
weren't like
true.
that when I was there." The
It's
camera
true.
can't capture it. It doesn't. It's like they're speaking to you in the room, that isn't it?
And
So
you
your
can
friend
feel
needs
that.
to just have it as a moment without the analyzing post. Don't do it
Yeah.
after.
That's
Um,
really
and she'll have a
smart.
magical experience. Magical. Like she'll go and have a full blown conversation with her son.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And it's the same thing for a new medium, isn't it? So if you get a new medium in your class that was like me, I don't even know what spiritualism is, and I don't know this, and I don't know that. What would you like? So you must start them with advanced students or whatever they're calling themselves. What do you
Yeah. I
say to
don't
them?
give anyone a
I
title. I'm
I know it's just not right,
mediumship.
is it? It doesn't feel right
Yeah.
when you say that.
But mediums that have had no training whatsoever are the easiest to get to my way of or my idea because they haven't had a restrictor. I'm stealing that. They're restrictors, not teachers. So they
Yeah,
haven't had a restrictor. And they'll do exactly what I ask them to do. So you'll be aware of a man, woman, boy, or girl, and what you're aware of, and they'll just say it.
so
Um,
beautiful.
I remember proving my point at a rally once. I was at a massive demonstration, and it was a day of spiritual and everything. And I just whipped someone in off the street,
Oh, wow.
and I just asked him, just follow my lead, just follow my lead. So, what are you thinking now? And he was like, I'm thinking about a man. And I
Mm,
was like, what does that man's personality say? Like what's he want to say to you? And he just started rattling it off. Rattle, 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 rattle. Who understands the man? And a hand went up, and he was like, "No way, no way,
unreal.
this is work." But yeah, he didn't have a teacher saying, you know, you must sit 30 minutes a day. You must don't forget to sage every corner of the room, every single corner. Make sure you've had 2.5 liters of water. Make sure you're grounding and you're opening and you're closing. And
Protect yourself.
yeah, yeah, you
That's why
obviously need
I
blood
hate that
tests.
one.
Make sure you got the gene.
Oh, well, that too, you've been
Do you know
chosen.
what I mean? And so when someone just comes in raw and they're just like, "I don't know, it just seems like a wonderful idea." Cool, right, then just follow what I'm asking you to do. And that person at the end of that class, I'll say to them, "So how difficult was that?" And they'll go, "That was easy."
Yeah.
And I'll go, "Okay." Round 2, they've got expectation.
That's what happens, huh? From 1 to 2.
What from 1 to 2, so number 2 will be like they'll expect it to be like the last one, and what that's saying is, "I need you to fit in the box like that last one fits in a box," and
Yeah,
that's where it will go wrong.
for all of us.
For
Yeah,
everyone,
that's just literally for
expectation.
all of us. Yeah,
Expectation, like my experience that I'm having with you is a pleasant one, it's on camera, it's whatever, but at some point, there's been someone that's had an experience with you, and they'll be like, "Oh, I can't stand her."
of course.
And I'll be like, "What? Well, what do you mean?" Do you get what I mean? That's
Yep.
that's what will happen.
Yeah,
But so my next one will be like with the expectancy, because I'm human, of how that podcast went with Kira.
right, right.
And I'll be like, wow, this is really different. Won't
Yeah.
I? I'll do that. We'll do
Yeah,
that
of
in
course,
mediumship. And
of
what I
course.
have to do is not be expectant in that sense. So who are you? What's your story? Anything goes here.
Right.
I'll say what you want me to say. So I drop the expectancy. So the newer the person, it's hard to go. But the last one felt really pretty.
Yeah,
This
so
one
easy
feels
for
a bit
all of us.
moody, and they're a little bit, oh, I'm resistant to it, so it's a little bit more difficult. So, but their first one, they'll say it used to be so easy in the beginning.
Of course,
Yeah,
and, so many people say that. So
well,
many people.
you didn't expect anything. You just turned up, didn't you?
You
Oh well,
just
let's
did
see
it.
what happens. Let's see what happens.
Right,
Now,
right.
now they're like, it's got to be like this. I've got to do that, and I've got to understand this car they're bringing. You know what I mean? And pop, there goes the magic. All gone. All the magic's
And
gone.
here come the boring messages.
Yeah, and it's all pressure and all self-critique and beating me up, and I don't love mediumship anymore. I'm really tired. I'm unwell, and do you know what? I'm gonna have a break.
Yeah,
And what a
that's I mean,
sad
I've
moment
been
that
there.
is.
I've been that person. What are what do you think about I hate this term, but I don't know how else to say it. What do you think about law of attraction?
And I like it. I like the idea of it. I think people like Oprah and Bob Proctor and Deepak Chopra have just absolutely rinsed it.
Yeah, me too. That's why I
Um,
don't saying it.
so yeah, so it's got a taint to it now, hasn't it? It's got
Mhm.
that taint to it. Now, in in its simplicity, which I think it is, I think I think it's common sense. You are an electric field with
Mhm.
a inner density, which I see as Kira.
Right.
And then someone else will come along and they'll see that inner density as Kira, but we won't even notice the same things.
Mhm.
You'll be a different person to that person, won't you? But
Right.
it's electromagnetic. So if it's electromagnetic, then a magnet attracts, doesn't it? So now it's very important on what you're filling that bubble with. What am I filling it with? And then
Thanks. I love my dog.
it would magnetize itself too. And so communication toward her, oh my God, this poor woman. What are we doing with that? And I'm offering it, and the magnet will be like, her son, I have your son here. Equally, it's like I can do this. I'm capable of doing this. Let me show the world. Or I don't know if I can do this. I don't really feel up to it. Sometimes I mess it up, and no worries. We'll go get that for you, Kira. So give me a moment.
That's everything. So that is everything to me when you say that, because if to me that's more what law of attraction is. It's not just think good
Money.
thoughts and good things happen. That goes back to me as love and light. But it really is this magnetic energy
All it
frequency.
is.
So I think it's like
All
law,
it is.
to me I call it like law of energy, because it's just
Yeah,
really
yeah. Or
energy
you
that
could
you're
go even simpler. It's just natural law. So it's
natural
just
law.
what you think you're right. I say that all the time. Whatever you think you're right, don't worry about it. So if you're
Yeah.
worrying everything's gonna go wrong and you're thinking everything's gonna go wrong, and then what do you know? It's all gone wrong. Surprise.
Right.
Doesn't work like
So,
that. It's
and
kind of
that
like,
must
let's
so
clean it up. Let's clean up your idea. Firstly, we've got to understand, like, there'll be an effort on your part, won't there? Of, I want people to like me. I'm trying to get popular. I'm trying to do, or I see that your energy absolutely works on you and your relationship with the spirit world, and you glow a little bit differently. And I like this person.
mhm.
Very different to you trying to make me like you, to just being you and me going, oh, I like her.
Right. Yeah, because you're just you. So that it really does I've not heard anybody talk about that, and I know I think you've said
They've
things
got
that kind
books
of
to sell though, ain't they? I mean, they need to sell a 400-page book when I can just go clean up the fort. See, when you're having that real down fort, think of 4 beautiful things. Just drown that one out.
Mhm.
I'm not feeling so pretty today. But you know what? I do enjoy my work. I do enjoy the nature. I do enjoy the gut. And now that's just a past thought drowned out
Yes.
by 3 pretty thoughts. So just get rid of it.
I when I was, again, newer to mediumship in my reading section of it, I was, when some readings were great and some were pretty shit, and then I would be great and shit, and it was just like sort of sporadic.
Hmm.
And so I started writing out all of the things that I got right in the readings. So I
Yeah.
do a writing instead of reflecting on all the bad things, which is what I
Yeah.
had been
Most
told to
mediums do
do.
that. Mm.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm gonna actually write down everything I got.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
So
I would
but
read those
more of
before
a
I went in.
positive
Yeah.
energy. Yeah, more positive. Yeah, which
And then
is
I would read
but
it.
but then it demonstrates it to you that how that works, doesn't it? So it's like if you have a bad read and then I go, right, come back, everyone. What was the issue? What was the problem? How can I help you? This is what we're doing. Okay, let's go again. And you're like, oh my God, I just had a nightmare.
Yes.
And now I'm beginning. And what do you know? You have a
The
nightmare.
nightmare continues.
Yeah, or you could
Never
think,
ending.
right, he's told me how to get round it. I have no doubt it will turn up and I can get round it. And you get round it and there's the fix. Job done.
So, I just feel like that is never spoken about. I think I might even
It's a
have
it's a
to.
really bad business model though, isn't it?
It is.
It's really
It
bad. So
is.
you need me. You need me.
Mhm.
Like every year you come back to my school or my place or whatever, you need me. So I won't give you all of it and we won't make it really simple or anything like that. Like it's just I need you to need me. And I'll tell you more next time.
Always,
And
yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I listened to a podcast the other day where where a medium said mediums don't want all mediums to be mediums because it makes me redundant. I mean, I screamed at that monitor, screamed at it.
Wow.
Like, I would rather us all be redundant and everyone have the ability to know the power of thought, and that life goes on and everyone can communicate if they just follow intuition and they develop the read of energy, etc., etc. But I'm more worried about my job. It's kind
Wow,
of
that's so
like,
interesting that
so
somebody
I'd
would
rather
say that.
when my job's done, people will stop booking the class, won't they?
Yeah.
People will stop buying the ticket or coming to see my demonstration. But it's the way I work, the model that I operate on is that I'm here for a period of time, and if I can get a chunk of the 8 billion on the planet to realize that this is real, it's there, and look, you can do it too. I'm in my head, I'm moving in the right direction, not worrying about my paychecks or my job security.
Yeah. Well, your
So
work shows for itself.
organic. I think it's you got to be organic, haven't you? And it's I want everyone. I want a rotation in my class. If I've got someone sitting there in 15 years' time saying, "How do you do that again?"
Jeez. Oh
We've
god.
got a problem. We've got a
Yeah.
problem. And
Do you think you'd ever tell someone it's time, go away now?
there are people that are now out there that I've said, look, you really need the real time experience now. You'll never stop learning, and I'll always be here. And if you've got a question, come in or pop in from time to time. But we're at a stage now where you need real time development that doesn't involve Charlie. It involves the client and the public and a communicator. And then when you get a list of problems, come back and we'll go over it and we'll iron it out. And um, but yeah, I mean, we're doing something wrong if if many, 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 many years later, it's the same group of people.
Yeah.
Um, then for me, there's a problem in the foundation of the philosophy there. There's a huge
Right.
contradiction somewhere, and it's not really ironed out. It's not spoken about. We won't bring that up, and
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it's not for me. So it's kind of like I'll say it. I can be your friend if you want me to be your friend. I've got no issue with that. But if you're coming to me for guidance, then I need to be the guidance, don't I?
Yeah.
And you really need to stretch that comfort zone in a public area now. So
Absolutely.
you need to be trying this now or doing that now, and so
And also for what I got from you 10 years, like, give it so for me, it's gonna be a couple more being out there for 10 years before you really have
And
that
I
popular.
think if you've noticed in your own style the difference that on the little time that we've shared, and I've gone just change that, just do that, and we have another 2 years worth of that. Your
Yeah.
mediumship 2 years ago will be unrecognizable. It'll be completely different, won't it?
It's already unrecognizable from 2 years
Yeah.
ago. I
Yeah,
think
so
that's just
it's
what it.
kind of like in that moment, another 2 years of that, I
Mm.
think you like people with sort of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years development should be standing out above the crowd.
Yes. Yes.
Then the organic part of the journey can begin, can't it? You're keeping it very real. You're not making it about merch, books, age, and it's just the work, isn't it? So,
Um,
yeah.
Last question I have for you, speaking of the 7, 8 year mediums moving out, and I think especially with this style that you've
Mm.
taught me, that will continue to ripple out as others go out and teach others and is happening now. Where do you see mediumship going? Do you think like it, because I feel like if it's going like this with you and me and everyone I've seen with your students, it can really rise.
It's
cra-
got to. It's
It
got to.
has to,
Got
and
to. It's the thing was, like I said at the start of the podcast, I didn't wanna teach. I didn't.
yeah,
And but I realized one voice is not gonna get through. It's just not
yeah,
gonna get through. You
No.
notice that on social media, don't you? If if you take any other tutor and you go on that profile and you go, I don't agree with that,
Oh,
then you get 15,000 people going, go away, we hate
yeah,
you, how dare you, and blah blah,
absolutely.
and you get drowned out very quickly.
Absolutely.
So I know that as one, I can't do it
Mm-mm.
because they'll just shut me up. But if I show people a way of doing it, one that offers value and standard and quality and, understanding, intelligence, and it's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I create, I don't know, let's say I create 15,000 more voices. And then another 5 years down the line, you've got 5,000, the next has got 5,000. Then that ripple is just so big that they can't then jump on the post and go, shut up, who are you? Because
Right.
everyone's like, hold on a minute. Bruh, and it just stops dead in its track, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
that's not happening anymore because millions of us actually agree with her, then
Do you, do you think
that
that's I hope this is coming, because if I look at mediumship on YouTube, I just want to cry or get really angry, because we don't even need to go to it. If you're watching this, just Google it. You'll see what pops up. But
yeah,
that's what's going on, and everyone now is a medium. Like, everybody's a
yeah, yeah.
medium.
I was
I'm a
asked the
medium.
question yesterday on a podcast, and they're like, "Are you glad that you started your YouTube channel, and where's it going?" I said, "Well, it's ready to go. It's ready to go again. However, I'm extremely disappointed in the numbers."
Mhm.
And they asked me why, and I've got an app that lets me know how to create like the perfect title or the perfect, and
Oh,
you can find what's being searched and what's
wow.
being watched and what's being, and 57 million people Google mediumship every month on YouTube.
Wow.
57 million,
Million.
and I am my numbers should be a lot higher than what they are, which means people are Googling mediumship for fluff, for
Right.
light, and I need a protection technique.
Yeah.
I need a meditation that helps
Meditation.
me
I was just gonna
see
say
clearer.
meditation. Yeah.
Help me see clearer,
Yeah.
like fine tune clairvoyance with this meditation or this binary sound. And the it's wrong. That it's wrong with what they're doing. So the just shy of 10,000 that I have are people that are absolutely fed up to the backseat of fluff and nonsense.
Yeah.
But there
Ab
must be more. There must be. And so slowly that will grow and that will grow and that will grow. But I wanna, if I can get a larger chunk of the 57 million that are doing it, then one video would have a tremendous impact.
Mhm.
And it's at that point where I can really dial it in and really pinpoint, say, this is wrong, this ain't right, this ain't, it
Mhm.
hits so many people, wouldn't it? I mean, these things, I mean, and like you'll be doing it, other people be doing it. These things are free.
Yeah, these
Making
things
them's
are
not
free, and
free.
I have 75 followers.
E
So
Exactly, and all it takes is someone to click a button. That the exchange is to click a button, that's the exchange,
I know.
not the hours that you've gotta go and clip this up
Now I have
and
to go, yeah.
post it, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's for such a minimal exchange. It blows my mind that the numbers aren't there. But if you release a video and it said, "Spirit guides giving us advice from planet Zorg,"
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Viral.
it vi viral,
Yeah.
could give up my job,
Mhm.
just do a load of videos like that, and that's where it's like, I'm not money motivated and I'm not material motivated, that I can go and get the numbers and give the crowds what they want, but is it right? And that's where it kind of like, it's not, so that's where I've gotta just keep doing, keep going, and keep demonstrating, and keep educating, and, those things will just create its own waves, so I'd like to see it in my lifetime have a complete collapse to a point, where
Mhm.
only the mediums survive,
Yeah.
rather than the channelers and people of evidential value will survive it, not the nonsense stuff that goes with it. So, um,
Do you think in your lifetime you'll see it?
I think I will make enough of an impact to make people think. I just don't think we can change too much in current times. If it had too much of a wave, then the media outlets wouldn't want us on their media outlet, would they?
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. Of
if
course.
I make you think for yourself and I give you power to
Yeah,
think for
right.
yourself,
Right. No, what?
the
There's no
media
money in
outlet will be
that.
like, "We don't want you on our platform anymore."
There's no money there. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna wake all of them up. Like, "Oh, no, we
Oh,
we would
definitely
much
not.
prefer them scared." So, yeah, no, maybe not
The
in my lifetime, but an impact towards something like that, then I'd be happy. I'd be happy with that.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
And let's just remind everybody, it's mediumcharliekelly.uk.com. Did
Dot
I get that
co
right?
dot
Dot
uk.
dot o dot
mediumcharliekelly.co.uk. Yeah.
I never get it right with you the UK or
I should just have .com, shouldn't I, really? That's what I
yes,
should have. So,
please.
it is available, I'm sure. So, I should
Yeah.
just have that. But yeah,
Um,
everything. I mean, it'll go there, and all social handles is Medium Charlie Kelly.
Medium Charlie Kelly, especially this YouTube channel. We've got to get him up to 10,000 because I'm going to remind everyone that he is going to do more videos if you do that. And that's how I found him is through videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and share when you're on any video that you actually like and support, because that's
By
how we
all
get
means.
you.
Yeah, by
Yes,
all
it's
means.
so important. And I want to
And it's
remind
free.
everybody
And
it's
it's free.
free. You are doing a free live on your YouTube channel in May. So that's, I didn't write
Am
it
I?
down, 24th. You are, Carol
Yeah.
Ann? Is she over there?
Yes. Yeah,
There's
she's
one in
over there
May.
somewhere.
So
Yeah.
if you
Yes.
subscribe,
I'm being
you
told,
could
yes, there is.
if you subscribe, then you will know when that is coming.
You
And
will
then
be
also same
notified.
thing. You'll
Yeah.
be notified. Same thing for classes. I highly recommend his classes. He's changed my entire outlook of learning and doing reading. So I want to thank you.
Thank
Um,
you for having me. Thank you for having me again. So,
yes, and
I really enjoyed the last one, really enjoyed this one. It's a different line of questioning.